I've always said that it was easy to emotionally manipulate black people, and this SPLC scam proves it. So you're talking about two white men that were lawyers, went and paired themselves with a black activist, Julian Bond, because you got to get a Negrocrat to be the face of everything, so it can be believable. They created the Southern Poverty Law Center, and their whole claim to fame, white supremacy. So you're talking about maybe 5 to 6 decades of this organization paying extremist groups to stir the pot. And these are organizations that they're supposed to be fighting against. You know how I told y'all that Democratic racist Nathan Bedford Forrest was the founder of the KKK? That was one of the organizations that they supported, all while playing on the heartstrings of black people. I'm talking about emotional manipulation at its finest. And my theory, the reason that they got away with this is simply because we don't read. We don't educate ourselves. All that black people do is what they're told. This is how slaves are on the plantation. They knew that we wasn't going to read and research and look to see if what they're talking about was actually something real. So they played on the emotional intelligence of black people to get money and, in my eyes, basically swindle the government. Because as I mentioned before, the two white liberals were attorneys. So you're having these people go out and pay to stir up the melee to basically come back and sue the courts and win. I mean, if the laws are being practiced the way they were, which I'm pretty sure they were, these are two white men that knew the law, then they know that building these cases, they were actually going to win. So it's like a win-win for everyone. And what's so crazy about it all is that a lot of those hate groups, a few of them came out of Memphis. Like every year, this group puts out what's called a hate map or like a hate list. And this hate list consists of different organizations who they consider a threat or basically are white supremacists. I believe one of them in Memphis, and they're still on the list to this day, is called the Political Cesspool. But I think what kind of made it very interesting for me is an old article that I found back in 2021 where they dropped the list, and there were actually black nationalist groups on this list. One of them being the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam was on a hate map by this organization and as an organization in Memphis. So I'm just putting that out there. That's their information, not mine. You can read that for yourself. Another interesting thing that I also noted was that Turning Point USA was on there. And we all know who's associated with Turning Point. Now, this is just my theory. Something I've been thinking, right? What happened to my boy Charlie? And I'm starting to wonder. Y'all know where I'm going with it. Yeah, so back to everything. So, yet again, black people, you have been hoodwinked and bamboozled. When are y'all going to realize that the Democratic Party was meant to destroy y'all? When is it going to click? They didn't stand for y'all at the State of the Address. And now, this same party that y'all love so much are actually the ones that hate y'all. At this point, if you are black and you are a Democrat, may you have the life that you deserve.
Now, let me just say this. This is segment 2 of You're the Power. We got Sister Sands. Yes. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and Brother Tuck, then you tell us a little bit about yourself. Then we'll come back to this clip. Now, the clip said a lot. And we're going to just do a little touch up on the clip. But I want the guests to let people know who they are. So go on, Sister Sands.
Hi, I am Osanta Nebbit, and I pretty much do a lot of things in our community. I was community leader at a very young age and continue to support my community in multiple ways. So thank you so much for having me. I've been knowing Malik forever, and truly, 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 it's a blessing to actually be here. So thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Brother Tuck.
Elin Tucker Solutions. I have a TV show here on Channel 19, and youth practitioner, consultant to CPS and other youth agencies.
All right, sir. So that's what we are. I don't think we did it quite like that during the first segment, so I wanted to be sure we did it this segment. Now, what you just heard is something that's interesting, but it's not new, like the lady said. See, they've been playing games, dig? Julius Barnes, we got to remember, because my generation, he was the upstart. He was sort of like after Adam Clayton Powell. He was light-skinned, thin, and curly type hair. So of course he would be in collaboration with two white folk setting up something to make you think white folks were looking out for black folk. But in reality, during all of those years, these two devils was already kicking it with their buddies. So we just lived long enough for it to come out. And now what comes out is the game. White folk have fabricated a lot of incidents in order to feed the madness. That thing that they talk about with Trump down in Charlotte, whatever in the hell it was, those were their people. They fabricated that, they orchestrated that. But these damn Chicago Negroes, they don't seem to be able to understand none of that. I listen to these people all over the country, man, and I'm telling you. Somebody say, well, why don't you take your ass somewhere else? Nigga, boy, what Negroes need to do is snap out of stupid in Chicago. I've seen it with agencies here. White agencies getting money. They don't even live in the city. They getting millions. Negroes is working in the city out of their pocket, can't get a penny, but the black politicians fund the damn white agencies. That's the same thing that happened with that group dealing with them racists. It's a game. The politicians work with the white folk to suck the money out of the black community, and in that case, to fund killers of black people. Feel me? So I think what we need to do is face the reality and stop trying to clean it up. Face your reality. Stop trying to act like somebody is making something up. It's you doing this. Those two white lawyers, they probably was Klansmen themselves, and they had to hook up with the Klan. So they all played the game and ran the game for damn near 100 years, and you dumb Negroes still running around here talking about white folks doing something to you. You doing it to yourself, and they had a black front to front and fake you out. Brother Tuck?
Yeah, well, like you said, it's been going on for hundreds of years. And to get to Julian Bond, I remember when he ran for Georgia's congressional seat along with John Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And John Lewis brought some dirt out on him that apparently was true, and he lost the election. And I think Georgia benefited by having John Lewis as their congressman than they would Julian Bond.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's evolution. But Julius Bond was part of the end of Whitney Young them era.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like these new Chicago politicians now, the young breeds getting into politics. But what happens is they think they so damn smart that they just sabotages everything that's been accomplished. And part of what happens with that case is that Those people got paid millions, and our people was the target of their criminality. And these people laid back in the cut after sending them on an assignment. Go hang that nigga. So we can say white folks hanging niggas. That's what it boils down to. They get you hung so they can say they need some more money because you, who's getting paid, is hanging me. See, Negroes, you know, go on, sister. I don't want to get on that.
Yeah.
Go on, baby.
We, from the beginning of time, I agree with both of you in terms of this has been happening since we've been on this earth. We power up the entire world.
Yep.
That's the thing that we don't know about ourselves.
Right.
We are the energy, the
Right.
real true energy
Right.
that is the source of all things.
Right.
And that's the one thing we are not realizing.
Right.
So there is a smoke screen even now that no one is paying attention to. Why? Because they are watching Atlanta Housewives and this TV show. But the thing that we really need to pinpoint and touch on, the thing we need to focus on, people are oblivious to it.
Right.
So things like what we're seeing right now, it's always been there.
Right.
It's, when you throw it in somebody's face and even try to have this discussion that we're having now, guess what? 9 times out of 10, they don't believe it.
And they don't wanna hear
How
it.
is that? How is that?
Right.
So you got to sit here and argue with, excuse my French, ignorant folks because they're not reading, they're not paying attention, and they are paying attention more to the smoke screens and, oh, there's the war is happening, oh, and then this is happening. Folks now are just recognizing that the gas has increased.
Yeah.
You know, just
Right.
because they have to fork out more money.
Right.
If we continue to focus on the thing, the smoke, right? The people say where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Right.
We are not looking at any of that. If somebody tells these people in this community, this is what's going on, truth be told, we may have a lot of politicians right now that is in that same game.
Well, that's why when we looked at the Walgreen piece, see, those type of operatives calling themselves politicians, but those are the ones that get the backings to get elected. But the truth is, they come up with the new word gaslighting. All of this, these little games they playing, it's these puppet, democratic reptilians that want to look at you or me and say something wrong with us. But the truth is, now that the administration has changed and it's all coming out, we can see that the whole thing was a lie. The whole thing about that mess with Trump, it was a lie. You people fabricated it and you presented it to these knucklehead Negroes and they still believe it. Niggas still walking around talking about how many crimes Trump committed. What about the crimes that you paid billions of dollars to these rednecks saying that there was racism when the only racism was them hiring people like they hire people now to go to the cities and burn them down and say somebody is protesting and rioting. See, these games are the games. And I think what we have to do as a community or colony, we have to continue to bring it like this. Because the gaslighting, these new generations, they doing worse than the old one, Julius Bond now. At least they had some sense. What we saw with Walgreens, that's just buffoonery. Those people are just pathetic. But it brings us to something, don't look like we're gonna get to it here, is the whole thing about Virginia. This damn test tube went there. Virginia had 6-5. 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. This damn test tube Obama, he think it's fair that there should be 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. And he think that's better, and that's why they all in an uproar about Trump redistricting. See, these are things that makes no sense to intelligent people, but you all keep going for it. All of this breaking right now is something that we need to pay attention to. But like you were saying, if you try to tell them, they look at you like, oh, that nigga's crazy. She don't know what she's talking about. But it's happening just like we calling it. Tucker, I know you out here, you see it, and you've been out here working out of your pocket, doing things and can't get enough to buy crackers and sardines, and yet some white creature in your community getting paid to work with your kids.
Yeah, that's basically the game that they got out here.
Yeah.
I can just name right off the top of my head at least 5.
Yeah, right off the top of your
Right
head.
off the top, 5.
It's true.
All on the west side.
It's true.
You know.
And the little politicians, now they want to crawl their little ugly, fake, copycat behinds to Washington, replacing another one that, I'm leaving him alone because he's old. Leave him
Well, I
alone.
was telling someone this week, too, when I got the word that Walgreens closed, I said, that's nothing new.
No, it ain't.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. They've been closed number of stores.
Right.
I remember when Jules left,
Right.
you know. Then they had to come back, you know. But the thing about I was pointing out is that we had black pharmacists in the community.
We did.
Independent.
We did.
But when the conglomerate came in, like you say, these stepping, fetching aldermen, elected officials, oh, let them come in, they can do this, you know, and got their little piece of the pie, and all our pharmacists was out of business.
That's right. And I mean, and what you're saying is that they came in on our people,
Yeah.
forced them out, talking about their qualifications. But then when the white boy got there, then they go in and steal him out and he leave. But you ran out your own people. They had been there for 40 years.
40 years.
But then you had them same operatives that went for this integration mess, talking about segregation was bad. No, segregation wasn't bad where I grew up. Only thing we wanted was what? Separate but equal.
But equal. Yeah.
But what they did, they never gave us equal, but they took what separation they gave us, and that was independence.
Yeah.
And I think what we have to do, and what you're saying, this whole thing about we don't have black doctors. Now we don't. All of the doctors now are these damn illegal invader types, Indians and a whole bunch of other things. How many Negro doctors can you find? I went to the dude and said, do you have any Negro doctors? They looked at me like I was crazy, and they're sending me a Hispanic woman. I said, what the hell? I'm a black man and you're gonna give me a Hispanic woman to do what?
My mother, they wanted to send a nurse to her, right? So they sent one lady, could barely speak English. My mother said, don't you send me no damn, if you can't send me a black nurse, don't send nobody,
That's right.
you know.
All game.
Yeah.
All these things have been occurring once again for since the end of time. There was it was my ex-husband who was working in the construction field, and a lot of these companies, what they do is they get all of these tax benefits and things for hiring minorities. You hire a minority and she's a female, it's like a double,
Yeah.
right? So tax benefit for them.
The max.
So
the
what
max.
they did, what they started doing since they offered this program, they would bring in all of these minority businesses to contract them out for I don't know, paint jobs or whatever, right? And what they would do is they would weigh you down in the payments. Oh, you got to get, you know, they'll tell you every 2 weeks, but you won't get paid for every 30 days, maybe 45 days, depending on whatever it is. Most black businesses cannot get funding
No, they can't.
to pay their
Right.
staff,
Their staff, yeah.
for 30 days up
Right.
front.
Yeah.
It's true.
So a lot of them went out of business
Yes, they did.
because of that. But did they still get the tax write-off?
Yes, they did.
Of course they did. So that's how they move in these spaces. It's these little underhanded things where you can't come after them
Right.
and say, oh, we did pay him,
Right.
right? But it was too late. The
Yeah.
person done lost their business at this point.
It's true.
All of these little things that are what do they call it? Undercover, hidden attacks on us. These are the things that need to come to the forefront.
Yeah.
These are the things we need to be discussing.
It's true.
Because until you know, because a lot of folks, they don't know. They just like, well, I didn't have enough money to keep my business because they paid late.
Right.
No, you create all these rules and laws and mandates,
Right.
forcing us to go get it, the car insurance. You don't get it, you can't drive.
Right.
That's stupidity.
Right.
Okay? It's simple things that we need to do ourselves to fight for ourselves.
Right.
Cut out the middleman, cut out the whole system. Stop even participating. I know that might be a little radical, but hey, stop working for their businesses.
Well, what you say, I mean, the realness is this. You wouldn't have knew that there was racism had not it been for that group. That group would tell you and highlight these are racist. But like they say, they put the Nation of Islam on the list. They put Charlie Kirk them on the list. Why? Because they had the power to destroy.
Yeah.
But the government gave them that power. It's like the IRS. They ain't even no government entity, but they have been given the power to destroy your life.
That's right.
And when you go to the government helped them destroy you.
Oh, what about the feds?
You're right.
I
Same
mean,
thing.
we're sitting here allowing all of these outside entities, outside corporations, they're not even in our country, none of them.
Right.
But we allow them to come over and take over our entire
Take
country.
over. That's right.
Well, what is Burkina Faso doing?
Yeah, it's true.
Taking it back.
Yeah.
So until we learn some of those things, we're going to sit here just constantly complain about they're doing this and they're. No, we have to get up and we have to fight for whatever it is that we believe in and learn how to get along. It's this systemic, people always say, oh, systemic racism and this and that and the other, but this is clear now.
Yeah.
This situation right here, this is clear, cut and dry.
Fabricated racism
Yeah,
by white folk
yeah.
with Negroes out there carrying the flag. And they knew they was out there. And the same bobblehead and Negroes you got running around here, running their mouth right now against this information that's coming forth. Those are the ones being getting paid. Now that the information coming forth, they still want those of us that question it to pretend that it didn't happen. Now, Mr. McDonald, see can you find one of those clips, and then we'll be ready to get up out of here, I guess. A couple of those clips as relates to the redistricting and the Supreme Court piece. Since all these Negroes want to act like that something has been done to them because the Supreme Court say, hell, we've been giving you the last 60 years and you're dumb behind didn't vote. What are you complaining about? You had the opportunity, you didn't use it, now we getting fat. Man, you'll keep setting aside something and you don't even use it no way. That's back to us forfeiting. But now everybody in the uproar. What difference do it make whether you got a district? You don't go vote. So if you don't go vote, there is no issue. But these are things that the Chicago-based vocalists, I can't call them activists, they just running their mouth. They talking about things, but the truth is, how many people was voting when you had your clique? Now that the clique has been overturned, now you mad and thinking white folks is clicking against you because of race. Ain't got a damn thing to do with race. It's got to do with you being too damn sorry to benefit when you had the opportunity. But anyhow, so much for that. All right, brother.
All right, folks. In a bombshell ruling, the justices during an emergency hearing voted 8-1 to allow the states to redistrict their maps prior to the primaries going into the midterms. And that was huge because even though they just had the ruling saying that it was unconstitutional to racially gerrymander your districts, there was still an issue of whether there would be enough time in order to get that done prior to the midterm. That was a huge issue because if not, that means that the elections would have taken place using these unconstitutional maps and would have set it up where we'd have had 2 years of having people represented and put in office based on unconstitutional maps. And that just doesn't make sense. And that's what a whole lot of leftists were banking on and hoping for, especially one specifically in the Supreme Court. Like you heard me say, the ruling was 8-1, and there was only one dissenting justice, and that was Ketanji Brown Jackson. And we know typically if the leftists are going to object, it's usually all three. But when you see that there's 8-1, that's because legally, there was no leg to stand on for them to go any other way. And what Justice Jackson has done, she had been kind of showing it a little bit. She has fully exposed herself as being a radical partisan justice who is playing a political game and has her own agenda that just was upended by what happened with the Supreme Court. And let me let you know something. You may not realize this, but you're going to look back in the history books and realize this ruling on not being allowed to.
Now understand this here. It's all over the place, and you know this. She was a damn DEI, black, I guess like Clarence Thomas, with a white husband. I guess like that other woman, that Indian black woman, with a white husband, Clarence Thomas, with a white wife. You know, what in the hell did you all expect? These are people that have chosen and made it clear who they are. But you want to look at them because they're in a position and you want to question and challenge. No, you getting what your hand called for. And there it is. Y'all take the last few minutes and have y'all last say. We don't run out of time. We ain't gonna do another show tonight.
Well, I mean, that's basically it. It's a conservative court, and you have a couple liberals on there, but they roll with the power. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, I mean, Supreme Court is not independent of the executive branch, and they roll with the power.
Yeah.
They feeding their interests. Bottom line.
Yeah.
That's my take on all this is slightly different. I don't care who's in office. Mm-hmm. I really could care less because they're going to put in there whoever they want. Mm-hmm. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
People can go out and vote their heads off. But when you know that's not your lane, we didn't create that.
Right.
We didn't even create the Democratic system. We didn't create the Republican system. We didn't create this whole government system. I mean, I wasn't alive, and I'm sure you all wasn't alive when it happened, right?
Right.
So what is it? Yeah. That's the thing we have to look at.
Well, that's true. It's a trick, and we continue to be the puppets. And I mean, that's up to y'all. Y'all can do that, but we are the power. And that's why you will see us periodically come here and we'll bring it. And we'll basically just bring you information that you probably already know. But we want to amplify it because sometimes, like say, you might not know. And we appreciate the fact that CAN TV still allow us to come in and take advantage of the opportunity. Because too many of our people are still in a coma. Until next time, we out.